Malaria is one of the most important diseases worldwide. It is a parasitic disease that is common to humans in well over 100 countries. In these 100 countries, over 3 billion people live. WHO estimates that the worldwide number of cases in 2010 was about 200 million, with a little under 700,000 deaths. Now, deaths have declined substantially, down by 30% from 2000. Malaria was once prevalent throughout much of high-income countries, but it has been eliminated from Canada, the US, Europe, and Russia. However, malaria prevalence has resurged in many low and middle-income countries, particularly in Africa, from the 1960s to the 1990s. Well, why is this? First, political attention to malaria fell because the earlier efforts to reduce it were actually quite successful. Second, resistance to anti-malarial drugs increased, and insecticides that were commonly used to kill the mosquito became resistant. Since about 1990, prevalence has fallen again as a result of major efforts to take on malaria, both through use of mosquito nets to prevent biting, insecticide spraying, and most importantly, use of treatment. In particular, there are powerful new artemisinin combination therapies, or ACTs. These ACTs can really be thought of as miracle drugs. They can cure malaria and not just treat it, and they can cure it very quickly. The ACTs have now been used very widely in parts of Africa and have saved the lives of many children. But malaria control is a constant struggle to keep ahead of a rapidly mutating and adaptable parasite, and that is paired with problems of drug and insecticide resistance. Now, the major global battleground for malaria is not just Africa, but in fact, it's the greater Mekong subregion near Cambodia and Laos. In this region, the most dangerous type of malaria, which is called Plasmodium falciparum malaria, is becoming resistant to ACTs. Resistance was identified first in this region and now is spread to at least 4 countries. Why is this important? Well, previously widely used malaria drugs became ineffective due to resistance, which also spread from this region of the world to Southeast Asia, to Africa, and other parts. This in turn led to the cure rate for these drugs substantially falling. So look at this graph and see the rates that occurred for chloroquine, or sulfadioxine pyrimethamine, or mefloquine. 3 drugs which are still used for malaria control became far less effective as resistance to them grew. Today, the drugs that do work, artemisinin combination therapies, are also under similar threat. What does all this mean for the future? Simply put, the major global battle for malaria is not just in Africa, but in this region of Cambodia and Laos, the greater Mekong region. This is where resistance to ACTs are occurring, and this is where major efforts supported by the Gates Foundation and others are occurring to try to eliminate malaria altogether. The logic is, if you want to get rid of resistance malaria, try to eliminate the most resistant types by eliminating malaria altogether. Now, this will need heroic efforts, a lot of money, and a lot of political support. But what's at stake is malaria control for the whole world. So the 3 big lessons from malaria that you should remember are: first, that it can be cured with treatment. Second, there's been lots of progress, particularly in the last decade, with expanded treatment and with prevention. Third, growing resistance is the biggest threat globally to future malaria deaths, and the main battleground today is the greater Mekong region in Asia.